All right, I guess we got to get going. Yeah, oh, woe is me. I was hit by a tornado yesterday. Sorry, swing traders. What am I going to do? I had no power, no internet. AT&T was down, Comcast was down. Everything was down. Trees are down. We're fine, though. Yeah, the wife and kids are fine. Pretty windy, though. Oh, yeah. Anywho, hey, good morning. Welcome to Forex.Today. You're on YouTube, bro, so why don't you subscribe? Why don't you subscribe so when we do live streams like this, you get the little ding-a-ling. Pa-ching! Cool. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the community. Maida says, I need to move to Florida. We're Cuba. What a wonderful country in many, many, many ways, Maida. What a wonder. The people are awesome. Super friendly. Oh my God. Everybody's so friendly. Yeah. Yeah. Cuba's great. Can't wait to get back. I'm dreaming about it. I got so many great stories. So anywho, let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money you cannot afford to lose. My name is Wayne. I'm a currency trader just like you. I ran into the thing called Forex. I don't even remember what year, 2001, maybe 2001. There basically wasn't any Forex brokers in the United States. Their FXCM was tiny, and there were a bunch of other little tiny ones. There were even brokers. One of them, I think it was called One World, and it went out of business, so the NFA went to check it out and see what happened to this broker, American broker, think of it, U.S. Forex broker. Turned out it was two kids running the Forex brokerage out of their dorm room. and everyone was like short the ends, and then the ends collapsed, but these kids were on the other side of all these client trades, and of course the whole thing collapsed. But you know, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So anyways, things have changed, right? Things have changed. But when I started, it was a long time ago. There was no YouTube. It hadn't been invented yet. In 2001, I don't think there was even Amazon. There might have been Amazon, but it was only books, but maybe not even Amazon. So, you know, put yourself in that world, and it was $2 trillion a day. And I've been trading ever since. Yeah, I mean, just really cool. I remember the day that the euro became more valuable than the dollar. Now, you know, that just happened recently, but the last time that happened was a long time ago. So anyways, I've been doing this a long time, and why would I do that? I love it. It's really interesting. It's truly, truly interesting. And when I explain what we do to people, they're dumbfounded, and I like that. It makes me feel special. Okay? So anyways, cool. So I'm glad you're here with me. I hope you're passionate about Forex as well. And if not, maybe I can share some of my passion with you, but at the same time, teach you the truth about creating value and building a business around this thing called Forex. If you want to get rich quick, go watch someone else's YouTube video. Go watch their live stream. I'm not going to teach you that. So if you got to get rich quick, go watch some other kid. He'll teach you how to get rich quick. Lambos and jet planes. Yeah. You should aspire to that. I will teach you how to build a business, because before I was a foreign exchange trader, became a foreign exchange trader, I was a venture capitalist. And before that, I was a high-tech entrepreneur and coach to high-tech startups. In fact, I'm helping a high-tech startup right now negotiate a deal with a bank on hedging their euro-dollar positions. That's how Dwayne do. So what am I trying to do? Create value for them. So that's it. So if you're interested, thinking like a business, creating value, looking long-term, okay, that's how we do it here at Forex.Today. Cool. Now, in the description below, there are some links. One is to my book. You might own it. You probably own it. I wrote it a long time ago. I think 25 or 30,000 copies were sold at almost $100 a copy. Don't worry about it. I didn't get even I earned $5 a book or something. But it's my first book. So when I launched the book, I bought, I think it was 3,000 people beer and wine. I threw a big party for 3,000 people. And all that money was gone. So don't worry about it. It didn't make me rich, but I put my honest life down in that book. I have carpal tunnel syndrome because of it. So if it's not too much trouble to you or for you, would you please leave a review? I'd appreciate that. That'd be great. I implore you to join FX Bootcamp so you can get additional resources like 88 hours of like hardcore, legit, real value type training videos. Not just a bunch of 5-minute videos of some kid babbling on about something he's figured out, but like real training. Think of it, 88 hours of real training. Lots of it is just from real world experience, but much of it is also like university level education minus the calculus. And you'd be shocked. Like, you're like, oh my God, this is legit. Yeah, that's what I offer you for $88 a year. And you'll get real training. Maybe at some point you want to upgrade your account for $99 a month. You meet twice a week. Once with Ryan for an hour and a half on something we call a Stop, Look, and Correct session, which focuses on giving you personal feedback and training. And then you meet with me, 3 to 4 hours every week, planning the future. And the hardest core group of, I shouldn't say hardest core, like serious, but lovingly serious group of foreign exchange traders you will join and work with them. It's not sitting and listening to me lecture for 3 hours. Oh my God, that's $99 a month, and it's a game changer. It's an eye opener. It's comfort, it's support, it's motivation, it's inspiration, it's feedback, it's training, taking everything you've learned in the training videos and put it into action. It's thinking forward, it's looking back, it's analyzing now, it's psychology, it's technical analysis, it's fundamentals. Oh my God. There's also a link to tradersway.com. You need a broker. Traders Way is ethical. They're trustworthy. They're a good broker. The features and benefits are all good. Fast execution speed, check. Narrow spreads, check. Huge swaps, check. Lots of asset classes, check. Okay? But ultimately, it comes down to, do you trust your broker? They've earned my loyalty and respect many years ago. Click on the link, tradersway.com, open up a demo account, and see if they can earn your loyalty and respect. Simple as that. Okay? every small business, and you're about to proceed into running a small business. That's what your Forex trading should become, is a small business. And every small business relies and needs and should demand quality service providers. And in this case, the biggest service provider is your broker, tradersway.com. Let me throw down an ad for YouTube's sake so that they can make money and then be happy with our community and maybe promote it. Taking a look at the poll. You guys are most interested in dollar. Okay, today is really the first day of earnings, so I'm surprised more of you didn't say S&P 500. But let's take a look. Yen is strong. Dollar's trying to stabilize here. It was weak, then it was strong, then it was weak, and now it's stable, and now maybe a higher high. Like it's trying to stabilize here, but yen is definitely, yen is definitely strong. Tearing down the euro, tearing down the Aussie, tearing down the pound, tearing down the Kiwi, tearing down the CAD. So this is beginning to look like risk off, which really I've been planning for, or preparing for, I should say. Okay. So, let's move over to the stock market. Let's start there. Because today is an important day. Like I said, earnings season is starting today here in the United States of America. And so you should be preparing for a possible change of direction. Got to get my... Raymond says, hey, good afternoon, Wayne and team. You would have been proud of us holding the class last night. I am proud of you. I think it's happened one other time, and same thing. You guys just went on without me. And think of the power of the community. Isn't that great? So thank you for that. All right, so this is kind of look at how I see this market, and this is kind of what we're planning for. Okay. Now that's not a big deal. Kabuya says, hey, 2023 outlook prediction are coming to fruit. Sir has beautiful brains. Well, thank you. I want to look pretty for you. Yeah, you know what? Hope says, glad I wasn't hit by a monster tornado. It was funny because I was logged into the room. Everything was fine. I was logged in maybe 10 minutes early. I was getting things ready. And then there was some lightning flashing, and I'm like, ooh, I think it's going to rain. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't even see out of the windows, and I'm like, right, like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, snap, I'm out. By the time I saw it, thinking, oh my God, that's a real storm. I was about to type in to the chat, hey guys, if I get cut off, it's because of a storm, right? And all of a sudden, gone. And it all happened in like 4 minutes, maybe? And I'm like, oh, within 4 minutes, I'm like, oh, that's like just from lightning to some rain and then some wind. And then maybe in the last minute, I look up and I'm like, ooh, this is going to be like a legitimate storm, right? And then by the time I'm like, oh my God, I start to type in, hey, and then out. So then I go around to the main room of the basement where I'm in my home office. So I go in the main room of the basement, And of course, it's all glass everywhere, just crazy glass everywhere. And it's the trees are bending over, and you can't see very far, and it was just crazy. Yeah, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, and it was just like now. Yeah, and it was windy and rainy and cloudy, right? But with that green tint, if you've ever been in a tornado before, there's like built-in sort of electricity and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, this could be a bad one. But anyways, it's all good. We're safe. It's all good. My cherry trees didn't like it though. So anywho, yeah, this is kind of what we've been. Yeah, this is it. I mean, that might happen, and that might present a trade. Very cool. So we'll have to watch for that. So earnings came out. There was about 3 banks. I think we have another one reporting now or soon. Oh, my clock in my office kitchen says 4:44. So I don't think it's 4:44. But anyway, sometime this morning, I think there's yet one other bank reporting. Lucas says, yeah, if there's green, there's a lot of hail in the storm. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I passed the FAA exam for private pilots, and you have to learn a lot about weather. And it's interesting because that's electricity. But the reason you get hail, I think, is kind of interesting, is because there's so much updraft that it's basically raining up. I think that's fascinating. So it rains up where the rain blows from the clouds up above the clouds, freezes, and then falls down to the earth. And you're like, ooh. So if you're getting that in the middle of summer, you got a problem, because the clouds might be 40,000 feet above sea level or above ground, but then it might push it up another 40,000 feet, and then it comes raining down from 80,000 feet. Because imagine the summer, how high does it have to get to freeze? I mean, but nonetheless, whatever. I think it's interesting, though, raining up. Oh, is that right? We had green and the lightning was pink. Yeah. Yeah, usually that's a sign. Now, I grew up in Canada, in the prairies. I know tornadoes. I can smell a tornado. Like, not even joking. You can smell it before it happens. You get, all of a sudden, the air pressure just drops. You have ambient air pressure. Your ears pop. You can smell the ozone. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you definitely feel it. Yeah. Yeah, that feeling. You go out and you're like, oh, yeah. It's in the air. There's electricity in the air. There's ozone in the air. Your ears pop. I remember looking at clouds. They're black clouds, and they get little fish hooks underneath them. And then there's a green tint, and you're like, you can see it coming. Yeah. Is this live? I need to learn to hold my winning trades. All right. Well, I only have one to share with you then. I'll open this up. This trade I took October 25th. So we're almost 3 months into it. Okay, 3 months in for that trade. And the reason that's there is that people wanted to learn how to hold their trades a little longer. So that one, I'm up almost 600% internal rate of return. Collected about 80% interest. Let me put that back up for the newer folk. The way you want to read this is this way. Let me get my drawing tool. Okay. Here's swap. That's interest collected on my loan. I loaned Mexico money. You see this? I'm an international financier. I lent the country of Mexico some US dollars, and I'm charging them interest on the loan I gave them. I'm a bank. I'm an international bank. So Mexico needed some US dollars, so I lent Mexico US dollars. And in 3 months, or not quite 3 months, about 2.5 months, I've earned $84 in interest. Okay? Doesn't seem like a lot, but I loaned them, what, $10,000? And if you look at my margin, this is my collateral. So I didn't loan them my money. I went to a bank. Okay, I go to a bank and I say, I want to borrow $10,000. And they're like, okay, we'll lend you $10,000, but you need some collateral. We demand that you pony up $100 in collateral. We will loan you $10,000. And you can do anything you want with it. Cool. So I pony up $100, and then from that, I get $10,000. Now I have $10,000. What do I do with the $10,000? Okay. In this case, I take the $10,000 and I loan it to the country of Mexico. Because I think it's a good economy. I like the central bank. I love the Mexican central bank. Okay. Cool. So I lend Mexico 10,000 US dollars and I charge them interest on the loan, of course. And so far I've collected $84. But here's the thing. I only have $100 of my money locked up as leverage. So that's not return on investment. That's internal rate of return on my interest in 2.5 months is 84%. You see? In 2 weeks, let's just say that's 3 complete months. I will have all my original money back already in the bank. I've already been paid. This isn't like theoretical. I've already been paid this money. So based on my interest, okay, I've earned 84%. Now, meanwhile, because it's such a good currency, the asset, because remember, I own this asset. I own the loan, which is now in pesos. The value of the peso has gone up. So you got to look at it here. So now we're looking at this number, 538. Okay, that's my asset appreciation. Again, I only have $100, and I could sell this asset right now. Oh, it went up in value again. I can sell it right now for $538. I've already been paid $84, but now I can sell this asset for $538, which is good because I only used 100% of my money. Now, on $10,000, that's not a big deal, but remember, I only used $100 of my real money. So now I got 538, or now 539. But that's not really paid to me. It kind of is, it kind of isn't. Okay? Because it's floating. So I could just lock that in by selling that asset to somebody else, and I could walk away with a total return. Okay? A total return. Total. Okay? And now when you look for investing, you might find like total return funds. Okay? So this total return is 623%, or $623 by selling the asset and collecting the interest, and which is pretty good. In 3 months, I have 625% return, right? Internal rate of return, which means not on 38,000, okay? Because that's different, right? That's your ROI. So I could sell this right now, add $600 to this account, and it gets it pretty close to 39,000. Okay? So that's pretty small. The return on investment is small because I haven't deployed the rest of the capital. This is just a coaching account, right? But my coaching account in the last 12 months, just me showing you trade setups, is up, I think, pretty close to 18%. Okay? But so 18% ROI, but then when you're measuring, was this a good trade or not, the IRR, okay? So the total for the account is 18 over 12 months. But this particular trade, the internal rate of return on this is 623. Different measures, okay? Different measures. But you want to understand these numbers. So for example, when you're seeing the return of a venture capitalist, they give you IRR because most of their trades go to zero, and many of their trades are so long-term that they don't know what the value of those returns are. So they can only say of the money they've invested, and then from those investments that happen to pay them back, what's their internal rate of return? It's sort of return per dollars you want to look at it. It's like marginal return, okay, per dollar. Okay. So anyways, the question is, how do you hold winning trades longer? You need to be able to predict the future. How do you predict the future? You need to learn how to analyze the markets technically and fundamentally. And then have the psychological strength to believe your own nonsense and trade it. But also have the psychological strength to know when your ideas are nonsense and you stop trading because you know you're wrong. Not that you feel like you're wrong, but you know. Well, how do you know? Evidence has proven that your theory is wrong, so you stop and you analyze again. How do you hold trades longer? You intend to hold them longer. It makes sense. I love it when people say that. I keep thinking of that Monty Python thing when what's the guy's name? The guy, the round table, King Arthur. King Arthur says to God, "Good idea, God." And God says, "Of course it's a good idea." Of course it makes sense. Of course it makes sense. Yeah, cool. So the question is, did you subscribe to our channel? Yeah, Lucas says, yeah, there are days when you go outside because of the weather and you know it's going to be a rough day for someone. Wasn't it a year or two ago, not far from you, like you knew somebody who was hit by a tornado, their farmland, and they lost a lot of cattle? Oh, my God. And then to think, like, how do you clean that up? Oh, how heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. But, you know, it happens. These things happen. Go easy on you. You only have a year and a half into this thing called trading. Well, you know, I've been doing live streams for about 17 years every day. So, yeah, take your time. As she says, most attempts end up break even, which is okay. Often that has to do with risk management, like you move your stop too quickly. Sometimes it's analysis. Sometimes you're doing the right thing, but the wrong time of year, so you don't understand seasonality. There's a lot of reasons, but it's also normal. But when you do the carry trade, at least you're collecting carry. You're earning interest as you go, and that often helps as well. So let me mark this one more time. And, this is kind of what I'm stinking. Okay, cool. Right on. Yep. Okay, NASI's on the 4-hour support. Be careful on NASI, everybody. Maybe we should flip this over to a 4-hour. Yeah, see, we're probably going to get our little bouncy bounce and then maybe sell the lower high. So going back to this, like the S&P 500, how do you hold trades longer? Well, you've done analysis, and because of your analysis, you have forethought. Okay? Do you use daily or weekly? I use daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. Okay, Banda? All right. So how do you hold trades longer? You look at this chart and you say 3,500. Well, really 3,600. And you're like, whoa, what? You expect a 400-point drop in the S&P 500? No, I don't expect anything. But if you're a bear, whatever rationale you have for bearishness, if you're a bear, this is the price in which you would expect it to turn bearish. I talked about it yesterday. That's the price you'd expect it to turn bearish. Now, so we have real resistance above us. We have real support below us. But once again, if you are a bear, you're thinking, okay, eventually we will work our way through this. Bulls will take profit, then bears will start selling. So over the next day or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20, at some point, this should roll over. And why do I think at one point? Well, that's my bias. You've done fundamental research. So if you're right, it will roll over. If you're wrong, it'll keep going up, but you don't sell on the way up, so you're totally protected. You don't sell higher highs. So you're not going to lose any money because you're not going to trade on higher highs. You don't trade in a scenario where the market's riding a 4-hour 21. This is unsellable. Now, if it sets up like a head and shoulders, so now imagine I'm in this sort of apex there compared to this, and let me zoom in, I guess, to try to make the point. I think I might lose the shape. There we go. So if we're here now, let's delete this. So if we're here and I'm treating this like a head and shoulders, I'll probably drop into a smaller time frame and try. But because we're still above the 4-hour 21, I have serious doubts about this actually falling. Even though I want it to and I expect it to, I'm like, yeah, well, it's an attempt. It's a try. It's a head and shoulders off of resistance at a price I would expect a rollover at a time of year I expect a rollover. So it just might roll over. So I can try, but it's not a big deal. It's a small little trade. It may not work. The better trade is to have it happen and then add on. So now I end up selling here. Okay? Somewhere around 39.40, 39.50 after a lower high. Okay, after a lower low, and then on the new lower high roll reversal. Okay, now, some traders will make that the trade of their day. So maybe that's Monday, and some guy will sell it at, let's say, 39.50, and it drops all the way down to 39.30, and they're super happy they picked up 20 points on the S&P 500. And that's fine. To each his own. So someone's going to try to make 20 points. Okay. I'm going to try to make 400. Okay? So who's correct? Well, both are correct. The thing is, I'm looking further downstream. Okay? Okay? Some people analyze with a sniper scope. I analyze with an AWAC. Okay? So that's it. And it ends up being the same sort of thing because the day trader could then, okay, sell this and then sell that and just sell lower highs. Why does it have to be more complicated than that? Why can't you just sell lower highs? You can. The other thing you can do is compound. Okay? Sell here. Limit order there to exit. Exit there. Sell here. Exit there. Sell here. Exit there. Sell here. Exit there. Now, this becomes a problem. Okay? Because that presents a pretty high likelihood, okay, of a correction. At least a 3 wave if you're an Elliott wave dude. Okay? So you would have to manage all the stops on those first trades. But sometimes it just doesn't happen. Cool. You just cut through it. Okay? So then you sell here and exit there and sell here and exit there and sell here and exit there. Now, I would expect something to happen around here. I would. If you can see it, everyone else could see it. So most likely there would be a retracement back to 39 and then you drop it down. Okay? But whatever. I'm just trying to say at this point, you should expect to manage these stops. Maybe pull all the stops in and maybe you exit all of these here. And then you rebuild here. Or you don't have to because you cut through it, or you leave your stops where they are originally, and whatever, you make management decisions. And eventually, you know, if you're really lucky, price makes it all the way down. And you're out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades. 1 for 400, 1 for 300, 1 for 200, 1 for 100, or whatever, various fractions of that. And you make a lot more than the person that simply in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Okay? Because let's say over the course of 10 days, you pick up 20 points a day. At the end, you have 200 points, right? If you compound, now, the downside is you can get knocked out lots of trades at break even. So you calculate that into your model. Is it worth the risk or not? But the other side is instead of 200 total, this is 400. This is 350 or whatever. I'm just making up numbers. This is 300. This is 250. This is 200. This is 150. This is 100. And you see the difference is exponential. But do you see that? The difference is exponential, but the trading is exactly the same. The trade management is different. But the entries are the same. Moving your stop or exiting is different. It's at that point, it's strategy again. So how can you compound if you don't know the future? Oh, you can't do it. If you can't predict the future, you're not worth it. Or should I say, your trades are not worth it. They're worth less. So I've always argued that your greatest value, okay, is being able to understand why the market is moving, when the market moves, and how the market is positioned. The rest is just technical analysis. Oh, sell the 5A cross, dude. Okay. Hey. That's nice, right? "75% of viewers right now have not clicked the like button." You want some WTI, Johnny? Okay. Do some commodities. World Battle says, how can I understand why the market is moving? It's a great question. Okay. I can answer that question in about 88 hours. World Battle, do you want the answer? In 88 hours, you will know why. No, most people are not willing to put in that time. Most people don't want to know why. They just want to know what to do. Well, those people, in my opinion, those types of traders that just want me to tell them what to do, to me, in the relationship, they're worthless. Why should I tell you what to do? I did all the work. Right? So then, right? Yeah. So therefore, it's the methodology, it's the research, it's the interpretation, and then it's the conviction to carry it out that matters. Okay. You want the 88, okay? You go to fxbootcamp.com. It's going to cost you $1 per hour. $88 for a year worth of access. You will learn monetary policy. You'll learn macroeconomics. You'll learn pivot points. You'll learn technical analysis. There's a lot of trader psychology there. Okay? There's some seasonality, which is important in there. Yeah, Johnny says, and go through them multiple times. That's why it's an annual membership. Okay. Yeah. And that's how you do it. Okay? Honestly. World Battle. That's the answer. Go through the training courses. They're crazy. Okay? Are we selling off this Friday for further rally? What further rally? Okay? So Flashy, tell me why. Flashy's basically saying Flashy wants to buy the dip, or is asking me, should I buy the dip? I answered that actually a week ago. Okay. A week ago, I gave an outlook for the future. People paid $10. $10. I think I spoke for 2 hours and 9 minutes. And I gave great detail to what I think is going to happen, but by answering why. So I don't know what's going to happen next week, let's say, Flashy. I have no idea what's going to happen next week or the week after. I don't know the future. So there's only hypotheses and then evidence supporting for, right, or challenging against. And as we go through reality, we have to constantly measure and test using scientific methodology. So just let me get to the heart of the question then, Flashy. Why would the stock market rally next week? Why would you buy a dip? Yes, world battle. Like world battle, when you do the macroeconomics course, you're going to get a really good education on macroeconomics. Okay? So I took an advanced macroeconomics course at Harvard, and my professor was, or at the same time, like he was he wasn't a full-time professor. He taught the class, but his full-time job was as a senior economist at the Fed. Okay? So a senior economist at the Fed personally taught me macroeconomics, and then I teach you macroeconomics. So that, it's like you get a little piece of Harvard, you get a little piece of the Fed. That course, I think, is 16 hours long on macroeconomics. Like, it's no joke. So are there specifics in these courses? Holy crimoly. Yeah. Okay. Zamo says inflation's coming down. Okay. Go further with that thought, Zamo. I think, Zamo, you're answering the question, right? Why would next week rally? Why should Flashy consider buying a dip next week? Okay, that's reasonable. So then I have to again ask why, Zamo. And by the way, Flashy, you should answer the question. If you don't answer the question, I'll just move on. Okay? Why do you think it will rally next week? And then I can comment. Now, Zamo says inflation is coming down. So where do you get that information, Zamo? Due to CPI yesterday? EJ says, can someone help me with my question? I'm sorry, I'm already working on a question, but hang on. Yeah, of course. Okay, your question is, do you need to know bias on both? Well, at least the yen. Okay, good. And what was it about the CPI that indicates that inflation's coming down? Well, Flashy, from a technical perspective, well, that doesn't tell you why. It looks like we're having a rally for you see, that's the problem right there. You're doing the right thing, but for the wrong purpose. Technical analysis doesn't tell you the future. It's price over time looking backwards. Now, you can try to extrapolate and use patterns, but it's like these Elliott wave guys that are like, well, I guess I got the wave count wrong, so I'll recount them. Well, then what's the point? If you can just go back and recount, that drives me nuts. Okay? Zamo says met expectations. Okay, let's do this again. Okay? Look, guys, I'm not trying to make you look stupid. I'm trying to teach you how to think so that you're smarter than 95% of traders. Okay? I'm trying to teach you how to be smarter than the news that's reported. Okay? All right. So CPI was good, right? Or as expected. Where's the report? All these notices. Where's my report? CPI falls, latest numbers, consumer price index. Is this going to give me the full report, or is it this one? I guess we'll do this one. Okay. You ready? So, inflation's coming down, right? Down, 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 down. So, I think what Zambo is saying is inflation's coming down. What the Fed has done is worked. The Fed doesn't need to do much more. We're getting near terminal rate, right, for interest rate hikes, and that the market should have a relief rally. Is that about right, Zamo? Inflation's come down dramatically. We're near the end of rate hikes, and it's time for us to get back into the stock market. Good. Okay, good. Let's be smarter than that. That's good. That's right. The thought process that you're doing is right. And I think that's what most people think. But ultimately, 95% of people lose, and the top 5% make all the money. So let's be smarter than everybody else by doing better research. Okay? So, headline is down. So let's try to figure out why inflation is down. Okay, negative 8.8. Okay, used car prices are down. And then what? Okay, that's total year over year. The only other thing which is basically break even is gasoline. Now, month over month, it's dramatic. Month over month, down, more than 9.5, down to. So over here, we're like down 12% in 2 months. Holy smokes. And in August, it was way down. And in July, it was way down. Okay? Okay, but really, it's break even. We just went back to where we were. Is that really a big deal? We're just back to where we were? Maybe. But how did we get gasoline prices low? By flooding the market with oil. Now, Jim did correct me. I got an email, and thank you for that, Jim. What I say is the government tapped the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, dumped the oil on the market for free or something, right? And Jim corrected me. No, it was sold. Okay, it was sold for money. But what I mean by free is sort of like outside the normal supply and demand laws, I suppose. So, but you're right. It was sold, but it was unnatural. It's not the market fixing itself. And at some point, you can't do it. You run out. Okay? But you're right. Thank you. And thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. So I want to make that point clear. It wasn't for free, but the intent, I would say, was illegal, where we'd be freaking out if China was dumping steel on the market for cheap, increasing the supply of steel globally. So now places like India or wherever are making steel, or American steel workers, right? There's steel, right? American steel suddenly can't sell their inventory because the Chinese are dumping steel on the global market, driving down prices. And they might be doing it on purpose. And we would say that's illegal. And we'd go to the WTO, the World Trade Organization, and say, China is breaking international law by purposely dumping, right, oversupplying the market, driving down prices for everybody globally, and potentially with the intent of hurting American steel production. And we would say that's illegal. Well, what was the intent of the United States by dumping oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? To drive down global prices. Well, I would argue that's illegal. And Russia and OPEC and even Canada should be pissed. But nonetheless, this is what happened. Okay? And inflation did come down for gasoline. And we're kind of back to where we were before we did this strategy. But back to where we were before, I guess that's a victory dance. But what I wanted to say is this is unnatural. The market was manipulated to get this. And at some point, we can't do it anymore. And we might actually be in a point where we can't do it anymore. But that definitely drove down inflation, right, Zamo? I mean, we were going up 10% a month and now we're dropping down significantly. All right, so inflation fell. Okay? And month over month, dramatically, right? When you look at some of these numbers, down 10%, down 16%. But notice it's all energy and fuel. And fuel oil, Zamo, fuel oil is still 41% higher than a year earlier. So yeah. Inflation dropped a lot this month, but dude, that doesn't look deflationary to me if we're 41% higher than a year ago. So then let's look at the year over year stuff. Okay, medical. Okay, let's do it this way. Let me get a little drawing tool. And I'll do green for up. Okay. Medical expenses higher by 4. Transportation services like airlines 15% higher than a year ago. Rent and mortgages up 7.5% a year ago. Okay, medical supplies up 3%, apparel up 3%. Used cars came down because we fixed the supply chain problem. So now you can get a new car. So these come down. That's great. But new vehicles are up because there's still not enough. Okay, commodities, we're way up and are all the way back down. But still, okay, all items less food and energy, still very, very high. Okay, utilities up 20%, electricity up 15%, fuel, heating fuel up 41%, gasoline back to break even, energy commodities in general up 7.3%, restaurants, okay, up 12%, grocery stores up 10%. And the headline is up 6.5%. Does that look like we're out of the woods? So how did we get an improving CPI? We dumped fuel into the open market to artificially drive down prices. But is the economy fixed? No. The only way we got inflation down to a reasonable number in December was by cheating. And I don't think we can afford to cheat anymore. We might not actually physically have the fuel to dump on the market anymore. So where's the risk? What's the major risk here? What if, okay, does anybody think like healthcare is going to get cheaper? I don't think so. There's, in my mind, no way. Transportation services? Yeah, but maybe next year. I tried to go to Japan this year and prices were up 300% going to Japan. So I'm like, I ain't going to Japan. Okay, is your mortgage going to get cheaper as interest rates go up? I want everybody to answer this. I want to know that you're listening. Are mortgages going to get cheaper if the Fed continues to raise interest rates? Yes or no? Okay. Yeah, mathematically, the answer is no. Okay, then let's go through it again. Once again, medical care? Nah. How about clothes? Yeah, I think clothes are going to fall because nobody's going to buy new clothes. You're going to get through this year, okay? Used car prices, well, they were way over. So now they're back to maybe better. Yeah, sure. How about new car prices? Yeah, I think they're going to have to cut. Tesla now announced today they're going to cut Tesla car prices in the United States by 20%. Yep, that's going to come down. Is that going to save the entire economy? Oh, look. Your $120,000 Tesla you can buy now for $95,000. Yay! Yeah, good luck. Okay? Okay, what about things like food and restaurants? No. Okay, what about if we stop tapping the SPR, is it possible that these numbers go from way negative? Again, I'm looking at that month, but then let's isolate it. I'm looking at the December reading. Okay, that's gasoline and fuel oil, heating fuel oil, right? So that's heat for your house, gasoline for your car, including diesel. Is it possible if we stop tapping the SPR that those numbers go positive again, even if it's only 1 or 2%? Is it possible that the downward pressure in fuel, heating fuel, and gasoline ends and that at least goes to zero? Is that possible? Brian says, hey, thank you so much for your time. I'm from South Korea. You know, Brian, I was hired by the South Korean government many, many years ago, and I visited Seoul and Songnam City and a few other places and met with about 12 high-tech startup CEOs. I love South Korea. Right? So if you want to fill a room full of Forex traders and fly me out there, I want to go. And that goes to everybody here. If you are in the part of the world where you can get a bunch of Forex traders together and you want me to come out and visit, I want to. Let's do it. Okay, so anyways, I think this could go from -16 to 0, which mathematically is a huge change. It could even go positive where I think, guys, maybe not fuel oil, but gasoline could start going back up this summer. I think that's possible, that we get inflation here, not deflation. And so anyways, I think if you pick and pull apart this CPI, we got some work to do. I think we're getting to the point where there's diminishing returns. And if you don't know what that is, take the macroeconomics course. I discuss that in great detail. I think I used the example of a baker expanding the kitchen to have 2 ovens. Do you think a baker could be more productive with 2 ovens instead of 1 oven? Or I think I also used the example of a farmer. Farmer is using a shovel and somebody buys him a tractor, or he buys a tractor, he invests into a tractor. Does productivity go up? For the farmer, having a tractor is way better than a shovel. Yes, productivity goes up. For a baker, having 2 ovens instead of 1 oven, yes, productivity goes up. But how about 5 ovens? How about 3 tractors? At some point, right, there's a diminishing return. One farmer can't use 3 tractors. 1 tractor is better than a shovel. Oh, for sure. A second tractor, well, it's helpful. If the first one breaks, you can just jump onto the second tractor. But how much productivity does the third tractor add? What's that one for? Parts? Like at some point, you never even drive the third tractor. Okay. Okay. Cool. So anyways, when I do careful analysis, because remember, I want to know the truth. And I read these numbers. And by the way, that's half the lesson right then and there. I actually read these numbers. Now, I don't know if other gurus on YouTube actually download the report and analyze it and think about it critically. But I look at it and I understand how we got where we are. But my job is to think 3 and 6 months out in advance. And I look at this and to me, it paints a picture. Okay. Cool. So why did we just have this conversation? Why will the stock market rally next week? And somebody said, well, the CPI was as expected. It was good, basically, right? Good. It was a decent CPI. Inflation came down. Really? I'm like, really? Is that the truth? Really? Inflation improved. Well, how did it improve? And will that continue? Okay. Ross says, these are the convos I care about, Wayne. Hey, let's meet somewhere. Let's all go to Cuba. I want to go back. It was so awesome. The only thing you can't get in Cuba are Diet Coke and a Cohiba. It's funny, right? A Cohiba, a good Cohiba is $109 US. Now, first of all, they don't accept dollars. They just price it in dollars, which is funny. And then you got to have your local card, but that card is in euro. And as they say in Cuba, it's complicated. But anyways, you can buy one. But the thing is, the average Cuban makes $40 a month. And it's $109 US for one Cohiba. Now, Monte Cristo's cheaper. You can probably get for 40. But you're just like, what? What? Can you imagine 2.5 months salary for one cigar? So funny. So funny. Man, but what a great place. Love it. Cuba's awesome. I want to go back more and more and more and more. It's so great to talk to people. Okay, yeah, no, I've had many Cuban cigars in my life, but they're good. I mean, you can have shit ones too. I actually, so the hotel, I had problems because I have American credit cards and all this kind of stuff. And whatever, you just roll with it. So the hotel actually, I had to prepay for the hotel, but when I get to the hotel, they can't take my money because hotels are not allowed to take cash. Now, I can spend my cash anywhere else I want in Cuba. I just not at my hotel, and I'm at the nicest hotel ever. And so anyways, and then it gets even more complicated. I can bribe the waiters for alcohol, but I can't bribe for food because it comes from the kitchen. So it's just so funny. And you just roll with it, but whatever. And so they're good. And so the hotel, I couldn't get, a Cohiba, even if I was going to spend the $100 on a Cohiba. The hotel couldn't actually sell it to me. But I met at the hotel's cigar shop. They had a rolling cigars. So I worked with him. I inspected his tobacco. I picked my own blend. I said, I want this much Seco, I want this much Ligero, and so we're making the blend, and then when we wrapped it, and then I said, I want a closed foot, I want a pigtail cap, and I want you to take a Maduro wrapper and do like a a barber pole type design, which he had never done before in his life. He thought I was crazy, but I custom made my own cigars, but he didn't even have the molds. You're supposed to put them in molds and like make them tight and everything. And he didn't have that because I wanted it thicker. So I had this great experience. I tipped him ridiculously over, right? Like I paid him a month's salary to work an hour for me, right? Anyway, so I get these cigars and they're beautifully wrapped. I had this great experience. I videotaped it, I recorded it on my phone, took pictures, had this great time. And of course, the tobacco was good, but it was shit cigars. And there I am in the cigar haven of the world, smoking my cigar, and it's like, it was shit. But I loved it. It was fine. But I had actually a great honor for those that are cigar fans. When you go to Cuba, you go to the Partagas cigar tour and you pay money, and maybe 100 people at a time go through shoulder to shoulder through this building, and they're like, oh, we do this over here and we do that over there. And you're like, what did the person say? I couldn't quite hear. There's 100 people, right? Going through this tour, this huge group of overweight tourists with bum bags. And they go, and I look at this and I'm like, I'm not going in there. That's not how the Wayne do. So anyways, get this. And this is not even a joke. Cohiba doesn't do cigar tours. It's Cohiba. They don't need to do cigar tours. And even if they did, it's nowhere near. This is in Miramar, where where Cohiba makes its cigars. Miramar is nowhere near the tourist area. It's not even in a commercial building. It's in an old mansion, like a house. It's no joke. It's in this house and beautiful gardens. But even if they decided to do a tour and like, oh, we're going to have 500 people a day, there's no parking lot. There's a circular drive, but there's no parking lot. It's a mansion. There's no infrastructure. And they've been using the same factory since the 60s, right? So there's no infrastructure to do a tour. There's no gift shop. They don't even have tour guides. There's nowhere to park. Like when I say there's no tours at Cohiba, there's just no tours. Cool. Right on. So I use my connections. I pull this string. I call in that favor. We do this, we do that, we dance, we do the dance. Guess what? The head of production for all of Cohiba met me at the gate and personally guided me through his production facility, through the process. And he personally gave me a tour of the entire Cohiba factory, room by room by room. Got to meet all the people, got to touch the tobacco. There were things that I had never seen before. And it was great. And then he's like, okay, that was it. By the way, there's only 200 employees. There might have maybe been 30 people rolling cigars for all of Cohiba. Like, it was just crazy, right? And then he's like, okay, enough of this. Time to smoke and have coffee. So we go into like this private room where, I meet a couple of executives, like his boss and his boss's boss. Like I meet the toppest guy, literally the people running all of Cohiba, right? And we go into this private room where they sit, and they do have guests from time to time, right? We go in this room, it's all closed up, all the curtains are shut, it's all dark. And they're like, we're going to sit in here. So we open up the curtains, we sit down, he brings some Cohibas, and we have coffee, and he and I go into this conversation, and he's shocked about how much I know about cigars. So all of a sudden we have like this hour and a half conversation, and it was great. And he speaks amazing English, right? He really was good. His name was Danny. So anyway, so I have this great conversation with Danny, and then it's time to go. And I'm leaving. And I said, well, next time I come back, Danny, I'm going to bring you some American bourbon, because he said he likes bourbon. I'm like, oh, I'll get you bourbon. Okay. I said, Danny, I want a reason to come back. So I want to come back and visit you so I can give you this bourbon. And he's like, great, great. And then I say to him, because he hasn't asked for anything. And I say, Danny, and like, we're in the parking lot now leaving, and he's walking me back to the car. And I'm like, Danny, I want to bring the bourbon to you, but I feel like I owe you for today. I owe you thanks now because you spent 2.5 hours with me. There was nobody else except my driver. And he's like, no. I'm like, what? So I tell my driver, because one way we got in is we knew one of the cigar rollers, or he knew one of the cigar rollers. So she comes out, she brought me a cigar that she had just rolled in the factory that morning. And I'm like, I asked my translator, I'm like, tell her I want to thank her. Like, would it be rude if I gave her money? And she was shy about it and all that. Like, she was super shy about it. Like, I'm like, so I slip her $20, right? Her salary is probably $40 a month. So I slip her $20 just to dancing with, nobody wants to be rude. She doesn't want to take the money. I don't want to give it to her, but and you go through that whole dance, and that was Cuba. Like, the people are amazing. The Cuban people are awesome. And like, what an amazing experience for me being a cigar lover, right? And we're going through brand by brand, blend by blend. This brand has this cigar, which has too much of this tobacco. What do you think? What do you taste on this? And we just, it was so good. Yeah. Amazing. Here's another example of how awesome the Cuban people are. I'm up on a rooftop deck, fancy hotel, fancy place upstairs. The service sucks. I got this in a lot of places. The service, some places, not a lot, but some places, the service just sucked, right? And like, for example, you're on a rooftop deck in Cuba, in Havana. People are going to smoke a cigar, right? No cigar cutter, no cigar lighter. I'm like, dude, there must be 10 people a day, every day, that need this. No cigar cutter. So anyways, so I talked to the waitress, and she's like, no cutter, sorry, no lighter. She's like, I can cut your cigar with a knife. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then, of course, there's a group right next to me. Probably in the 50s and 60s, very well, elegantly dressed. I think they had something to do with owning either the hotel or the restaurant, but they were upper class Cubans, right? Probably owners or knew the owners, but locals, regulars, classy people, and a couple of the men are smoking cigars. The women are dressed in beautiful dresses and everything. And so I'm like, I tell the waitress, I'm just going to ask these people. Come on. So I walk over there and I say, and I'm like, do you have a cutter? The woman pops up. Yes. Let me get it. So she gets up, and I think she's walking over to the bar or something. No, she goes all the way down to her hotel room. She disappears for 5 minutes. She goes down, away. She's gone for 5 minutes. And then she comes back with a cigar gutter. I'm like, they're in the middle of this passionate conversation. They're elegant. They're having this group like, oh, you need a cigar cutter? It'll take me 5 minutes, but I'll go do this for you. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you so much. I didn't mean for it to be so, right, to interrupt the conversation and everything. I'm like, just like, how cool is that? And locals were like that. Locals were like that. Classy, sophisticated, nice, good people. Yeah. Good people. Let's look at dollar. Try that in another city, huh? You would never get something like that in the United States. Pound CAD, what is your analysis? Well, which one are you bullish on? They're both bearish. Let me quickly answer that question. Okay. CAD is down, pound is down. Favor? So why would I want to look at that? Okay, help me out here. Why would I want to even look at it? Okay. Yeah, so Zamo says, well, yeah, so like, why would you look at pound CAD? See, there are times when you do cross trades, but that wouldn't be the right time to do a cross trade, right? It doesn't make any sense. So you might want to do something like CAD yen. And CAD yen, okay, let me do it this way. CAD yen kicked off a roll reversal, and now we're down at support. So now it's kind of tricky. So predict the future. Well, it's either going to bounce like this, or it's going to break, pull back, and sell. Cool. So that's okay, Favor? You should be thinking more like, what's CAD yen going to do next? And you're analyzing it like, well, it's the pink or the blue. And that's today or Monday's trade plan. Octavio, yeah. How do you get investors, right, to trade? Cool. I will create an entire course on that, maybe next year. Or maybe later in the year. But Octavio, how many years of trading history do you have? Because I think what you want to show, okay, 3 years. Earning an average of 2% per month. If you can do that, okay? If you can do that for 3 years, you'll have no problem earning money. Now, the rest is, how do you meet them? Where do you domicile your management firm? Where do you domicile the fund? Where are you going to run a managed program, which is different? How do you get your compliance documents put together? How do you set up a pitch deck and a one-pager? How do you present and explain your track record? All that kind of stuff is next. Okay? Prop firms are bullshit. Okay? Okay. I haven't seen one that's legitimate yet. If I did, I would recommend one to you. But here's how a prop firm would work. You would show them a track record of 3 years earning 2% a month, and they would pay you money to join their firm. They will pay you, let's say, $100,000 salary and a certain percentage above some sort of quota. So you get a bonus at the end of the year. So maybe you make $150,000 a year. They would give you an office. You would work in the office. You'd have a computer. You'd have a trading desk. You'd have a manager. You would have a trainer. You would have a manager's manager. And there would be, 50 or 100 people just like you. And you're like, no. I'm going to work for a firm. And then I got to take a test. Like, think of it. This firm has, let's say the firm has $100 million and they want to hire people to trade their $100 million, but the people they're going to hire have no track record. And then they're going to take a test and it's going to be $30 or something. And then there's going to be a thing. And then there's a stage 1. And then there's a stage 2. And there's a stage 3. And there's stage 4. Dude, it doesn't make any sense. It makes no logical sense. So if there is a prop firm out there that's legitimate, they're welcome to contact me and show me, and I'd be happy to recommend them because I'd love for someone to give you some money to trade with. But the thing is, you don't you don't deserve it. You're not there. You're not there. You're not investable yet. Show me 3 years. Okay, let's go back. Show me 3 years of 1% a month. If you can do that, a prop firm will hire you and you'll earn a minimum of 150, but probably closer to 250,000 a year. They'll pay you. Arve says it makes sense for the prop firm, but see, I can't call them a prop firm. It's somewhere between an educational firm and a scam. People selling bullshit stories to poor people that need money fast. Oh, well, why don't we just give you a whole bunch of money and you keep most of the profits for free? You don't even need a track record. You don't have to have an education. You don't have to have any qualifications at all. I'm like, dude, how does that make any sense? You don't need any experience, any qualifications. We'll give you all the money. I mean, yeah, it's upsetting. Sorry. Cool. So anyways, somebody wants to do pound CAD. Really? Okay. You see, guys? So again, going back, who asked? There we go. Favor. Are you still with me, Favor? Favor Flav? Where's he gone? Favor, are you with me or what? Shipalani? Hola. Oye. Hello? No, he's gone. Ah, pissed him off, huh? Well, I hope everyone else learned from the lesson. I don't want to cover pound CAD. Why would you do that? Okay, wrong trade. Oh, but the 5-8 cross. Who cares, right? You're trading the wrong thing, and that's going to be the problem. You got to look at the right thing at the right time for the right reason. Okay, so anyways. How about this? Can you sell the next time it hits the 21 EMA? Like it did here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here? Oh, this is a reset, right? Remember, this is all a sell zone. I used to have one called Lucas lines, I think, didn't I? Didn't I create one called Lucas lines? Lucas ribbons, there we go. I'm going to change it to Lucas lines. Okay. Look. Selling there. Do we? Yeah. So I think I'll leave you with that. You got to just do the right thing. You got to know what to be looking at. You're looking left and you're getting run over on the right. You know, that kind of stuff. Flavor comes in, asks me a question. I said, it's the wrong thing to be asking. And then he's gone. Just like that. Comes in. Tell me what to do. And I'm like, you're looking at the wrong thing. You're doing the wrong thing. And then he's gone. In and out. Just like that. So for those that stick around, thank you. And if I babbled on about my recent trip to Cuba, remember, yes, I had a good time, but I'm also observing. I loved being a capitalist in a socialist country, and I loved the ability to ask questions and talk to people and roam. I did things like 10 o'clock at night, I just walked out of the hotel and went to like street festivals and stuff. It was amazing. A mojito and a box of like fried pork with rice and beans and some mashed potatoes, I guess, or something. And then some fried plantains, and spent a whopping $2. No, it's probably closer to $2.50. Amazing, right? Yeah, day trading, Jim. Yeah, everything's back to normal. Everything's back. Oh, wait. No, but there's a holiday, Jim. I see what you're saying. No. But Monday, if you guys are around, yeah. Monday, if you guys are around, let's do that then. Okay? Lucas where are you going, Lucas? Dennis said, what happened to the MetaTrader website? They sued me. Yeah, MetaQuotes, the company that owns MetaTrader, did not like me promoting their platform and the tools to improve, or let's say, support the use of their platform. Going to Puerto Rico. Man, look at you. Yeah. So, you know what, Lucas? I bet you get a better deal in Cuba. Okay. I'm telling you, I was a big tipper in Cuba. Big tip. Big tipper. Made a lot of friends. And I tipped a waiter one time. It was 550 pesos, which was almost $4. So I paid 1,000 pesos. And he was so happy, this waiter, that he was my best friend. The rest of my trip, I'd walk in, you sit over here, I'll take care of you, right? You sit here. He'd cut my cigars, light my cigars. He was very, very attentive. Always, sometimes he'd bring me free drinks or free coffee and all that kind of stuff. And like, to get real gratitude for $4 tip. Yeah. Very cool. M. John says, give 100. Sure. I was very gracious in many situations. The thing is, I'd be there over and over and over again. So, I'd double. I was paying 100% in some cases, or close to 100%. Tip, 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 tip. And other places, all that kind of stuff. So, but at some point, yeah. So anyways. Yeah, they have no choice but trying to stay alive. Yeah. So, but there was gratitude. Like the Cuban people were gracious, which is part of sort of gracious, and there was gratitude, but gracious. But the people were just really, really, really cool. I think a Cuban would welcome you right into their home, like without any hesitation, and stuff. So, and I did visit, one family and met their children and his wife and everything. And so it was interesting. Yeah. And they were very happy to share. And I was very happy to share. And I kept telling you, I said, I was told to keep my mouth shut. Your voice is in my ear all the time. And it was great. So in my interview with the government official and stuff, there were questions that I didn't ask. Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, that's all I'm saying though, Meta, is, people were, no, but I mean that in a good way, in a good way, in a good way. It was good, so I thank you is what I'm saying. Thank you is what I'm saying. But, I definitely would go back. There's other things I want to see, and do and help with, but, I got to see so many of the different neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff. I went to the fanciest restaurant in Cuba by far, but then I also ate in the street at a street festival where there was no tourists. I also ate in a hole in the wall, and it literally looked like a hole in the wall. The back door of a restaurant, serving, they were kind of side serving out of the kitchen and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. So I got to kind of try a lot of different things. It was great. It was great. And again, it's an amazing thing for an economist, because there's before the embargo and then there's after the embargo. There's before when it was capitalist and after when it was socialist, right? So before the revolution and after the revolution. And I definitely see it from a capitalist point of view. I'm like, And then you see sort of local attitudes, and it's different from mine. And again, it's not me judging. It's just I look at it from a very different way. And I kind of want to go back and continue to experience it where you're like, okay, I'm looking at the two economies. It's one place where you can just sit and see two economies separated only by time. Sure, Meta. Meta, or we can do a Zoom call if you want as well. Might be easier, just easier. But so again, think of this economist where it's almost like an economic test Havana is beautiful. There's no two houses the same. No two houses. And they have style and class, and Havana was incredibly wealthy. It's unreal how wealthy Havana specifically, because I didn't go to any other city, got. It's a huge city, and almost all of it is, the houses are incredibly beautiful. So you're like, where did they get the wealth? And if you think about it, around World War I and World War II, so let's say the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, there's this period where Havana became filthy stinking rich, unbelievably wealthy. But at that time, I think there was also a shortage of gold because the demand was so high because of World War I and World War II. And Havana, that's right. Havana had gold. Now, not their gold. Cuba doesn't have gold, but Latin America has gold, and it goes to Cuba first and works its way to Spain, historically. So anyway, so there was this period, and you can see it in the architecture where on this date, and it's always something like in 1922 or 1911 or whatever, they ripped all this down and they built all this new stuff. And you can just see, just by the age of houses, there was this one period, this one generation where money in Cuba was like free. They had unlimited amounts of wealth. Right? So now Meta's like, it's the most beautiful place in the world, so why am I not living there anymore? And then something changed. And so now you can see it. Cuba is really interesting because of this. Think of it. There was a period before World War I and World War II. Then there was this period after World War I and World War II. Okay? And then there was the revolution, and then there's now. And you can see it. You can see the change. And so it begs the question, why did 250,000 Cubans leave this year? They only have 10 or 11 million people. 250,000 people left. And when you not talk with the locals, but what the locals talk about, you sit down and you talk, I don't speak Spanish, but then I ask questions later. What is everybody talking about? When locals talk to each other, they talk about leaving, or their neighbor left, or their friend left, or their cousin left, and their friend, and the people are getting WhatsApp messages of pictures of literally their friends and family in Miami are sending them WhatsApp pictures like, dude, where are you? You should be here now. You should come to Florida. We're waiting for you. It's everyone, right, has family that's left, has friends that left. And the family keeps reaching back. Come to Florida, come to Florida, come to Florida. So it's interesting. It's really something that's happening. So think of it now, like real estate prices are falling. You can walk down the street and there's empty apartments because so many people are leaving. Yeah. So I don't know, very interesting as an outside observer. I didn't go to judge, but I do want to go back because it is so fascinating to look at it through the eyes of like a researcher. Right? So anyways, and then of course the foreign exchange aspect of it is fantastic. 2 months ago, you got 25 pesos, Cuban pesos for a dollar. I went to then that changed. So now it's 120. So it went from 25 to 120. So the peso is dropping exponentially. And then I go to the black market on Saturday and I get 150 pesos to a dollar. And by the time I leave, it's 170 pesos. It went from 25 to 120 to 150 to 170 pesos per dollar in like 6 weeks. And it was growing faster. I bet you if I went this week, I could get 200 pesos. Okay? Amazing, right? So there's that foreign exchange aspect. The first thing I did in Cuba was go to the black market and exchange my dollars for pesos. Yeah, it was cool. Very cool. So, whatever. So as an economist, it was cool. So, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Have a good one. Have a nice weekend. Remember, in America, banks and financial institutions are closed on Monday. So if you're in my day trading group, I'll see you Monday night. I'll try to remember to send an email, not 4 in the afternoon, because many of you guys are probably with family, but let's do like the 7 o'clock. Let's pretend Monday night is Sunday night. And we'll do a quickie. And for everybody else, I'll see you Tuesday morning here at Forex.Today. Remember to like, subscribe, comment. Okay. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. Meta, email me. And what I'll do is I'll go set up the room. And then I'll look for your email and I'll reply with the link. Cool. Cheers, everybody. Pachow.